Welcome back, guys. Amar here, and today we are continuing with the fish master. Right now we have our hook, and what do we have to hook? Well, fishes, and we don't have one. We don't have fishes at all. So let's get started by creating some fishes. To do so, go to hierarchy, right click on it, create an empty game object, reset its position, and call this fish. Like this. Inside of the fish game object, we're gonna have another empty game object, which is going to be our graphics. Almost spelled that correctly, but almost. So graphics, like this. Inside of it, we will have our sprite renderer, which will have one of our fishes. So let's say crab, for example. But what happened? Crab. But it's kind of too big, so we're gonna scale it down a bit. 0.1, not 0. Come on. 0.1 and then 0.1, like this. So this is going to be our fish, our crab. First thing we're gonna add, the first thing that we are gonna add is our collider, 2D, and circle collider. Keep that in mind. It's circle collider. Make sure you put it to be a trigger. Offset. The radius will be 0.2, and as you can see, but you cannot see, you can, but I'm gonna move it so you can see better. So this is where our fish is at. So no matter where do I change it, it's always going to be the same. So it is right where it's supposed to be. Should I move it maybe a bit? So like negative 0.2. Nah, this is not gonna happen. So 0 offset on the X. This is where we're gonna catch our fishes. Now we have to save the fish. But how do we do that? Well, basically, when you want to instantiate a game object, or in this example fish, you have to prefab it. You have to store it somewhere. And to do that, we'll have our prefab. So right click on our project, create a folder, and call it prefab. We're gonna have our prefab for our fish, so I'm just gonna put prefab and fish, no subfolder for fishes, and so on. So right now we have our fish, and one thing is missing here, and it's our script. So go to scripts, create a new folder or subfolder, fish scripts, so scripts like this, and here we're gonna add our C# script that we will call fish. Now, when we add our script to our fish, like this in our hierarchy, let me show you. Come on, let me show you up. When we add it, you think it's there. But if I were to remove the fish and go back to prefab, put it again, there is no script. And why is that? Well, basically, every time you change the prefab from the hierarchy, you have to click apply. So if I were to add component fish, I will have to click apply, so it applies. And now when I delete the fish and add it again, I will have the script on. And I almost forgot to say what prefab is used. As I said, it's a game object that stores value. Right? Like right now we have our circle collider, our fish script, our graphics. But if I were again to create a fish, I will have to do that all over again. So as you see, I have to add, once again, graphics, collider, script, and so on. But when you prefab it like this, it's always there, and it will be always stored as it is. So let's delete our fish from the game and open up our fish script. First, we're going to delete the comments, as I usually do, like this. And in this case, I'm gonna start things off by having a serialized, not field, but our what's called serial. Come on, why? Okay, something is missing here. Okay, I forgot. I have to put using system to actually access the function that I'm searching for. And the function I'm searching for is serializable. So serializable like this. And what is that? Well, basically, we're gonna have our serializable public class, which is gonna be called fish type, like this. Now let me explain. When you put something to be serializable, it means it will be visible when you put it in the what's called this inspector. What do I mean by that? Well, basically, we are not gonna have here like 15 fishes like in our prefab, then store them one by like fish 1, fish 2, fish 3. I mean, you could add, but it's too much work. Actually, what we're gonna do, we're gonna have our public int like price. Then we're gonna have our public float fish count like this, then our public float minimum length, then public float maximum length, and then we're gonna have our public float collider radius, and last but not least public sprite, which we're gonna call sprite. So sprite like this. So what do I mean by that? Saying once again, well, basically every time, I mean, in the fish spawner that will come later on, we're gonna have this fish type. And let's say we want to have 10 fishes. We will have to, for every fish there that we have, so like 10, we have to put in down price, fish count, minimum length, maximum length. And to not do that in script, we put it to be serializable, so we can actually see it when it comes into the hierarchy or inspector. We will see later on when we add it in where did I want to add it? In fish spawner, of course. So I'm gonna actually cut this and put it to be last because it's not something that we will actually go back to, but we need it though. So let's start now having our private fish dot fish type, calling type. Then we'll have our private circle collider 2D that we'll call call for collider. Then private sprite renderer rend, so we can actually change the sprite of our fish. Private float screen, so screen left, so we can have the bounce when we hit when fish hits the left side or the right side, it can go in circle looping through, so it does not go out of the bounds. And then we're gonna have our tweener, so using the g.tween like this, and it will be our private tweener, which is gonna call tweener like this, same, just lowercase t. Now in our awake function, which we'll use later on, so awake, first we'll use our public, so public fish dot fish type, because here we're gonna have our getter, and here we're gonna have getter and setter for the type. So let me do that real quick, get and set. To get, we're just gonna return, so we will return this type. Come on, return, can I do it? Yep, I can. Type, we're gonna return the type. And if we did not have it, so it's not lower, it's capital T type, we're gonna return type, which is our fish type right here. If we have one, if we do not, then we're gonna say type equals to value, come on, equals to value. Come on, why does not my keyboard listen to me? Then collider dot radius equals to type, come on, equals to type dot collider radius, and our rents dot sprite equals to type dot sprite. So what's this? Well, basically we have our fish dot fish type, which is actually having the collider radius and sprite from our, as you can see here when I click on the sprite, from our fish type. So we are getting collider radius and sprite from our fish type. If we have one, we're just gonna return it, but if we do not have one, we're gonna set it by saying the type equals to value. So we're setting it up. Then we're changing collider radius and render sprite, I mean. Moving on in our awake, we're gonna say collider. I'm just gonna put this bracket down. We're gonna say collider dot radius equals to type dot collider radius, like this. Then rend dot sprite, no, I mean just rent the equals to, and here it's not collider. Oh, my bad. I just repeated what I saw here. My bad. What I was trying to say is collider equals to get component, and we're getting our circle collider like this. Then we will have our renderer equals to get component, and we're getting our sprite renderer. So sprite renderer like this. And we are gonna have our screen left equals to camera dot main dot screen to world point. Then we have here vector 3 dot 0 and then dot x, like this. So this will be our camera main, and this is just this point here or here because it's left. It's 0 to something. I do not know exact number, but it will make our fish go left or the right. Now update function will not be here, so we're just gonna change that to our reset fish. So reset fish, and we're gonna call it public. So here you may see reset fish, meaning that it will reset, but actually it will even reset it and it will put it in our game. So it will organize our fishes to go, I mean not to go, but to be all around the place. You will see. Now in reset fish, we're gonna check if we have tweener. So if tweener is not equal to null. If that is the case, then we're gonna say tweener dot kill equals false, meaning that we have something and we will not do it because of course it's false. Kill boolean equals boolean false. Yep, kills the tween. Now next off, we're gonna have our float num. So here is going to be a bit of math, but you'll see nothing too much. Float num equals to unity engine, or actually random dot range, but we cannot use it like that, so we have to use unity engine dot random dot range. Then we are having from the type minimum length to our type dot maximum length. So this is our num. Here we're saying our collider dot enabled equals to true. Then we're setting our vector 3 position to be equal to transform. So transform dot position for our fish. Then we are changing the position dot y to num. So num is actually minimum length and maximum length where our fish will be. So a random point in there. Then position x will be equal to screen left. Yep. So screen left like this. Then we're saying a transform dot position equals to position like this. So this is one separate thing. So here we are setting up where our fish will be. So it will be around here from this side to this side. And for the y, it will be some length random that we put in. Next, I will have our float num2, which is going to be equal to 1. Then float y equals to unity engine dot random dot range, and we're going from num minus, so this is the minimum, num minus num2 to our num plus num2. And again, I have this on, I always forgot to put it off. So num plus num2 like this. Next up, we will have our vector 2, v, which is going to be our new vector 2. So position, it will be for negative position dot x and then y. That will be it for num2, and last but not least, it will be our num3, which is going to be equal to 3, and for it we'll have delay. So float delay that equals to unity engine dot random dot range. So range from 0 to R2 multiplied by num3 like this, which is actually 6 for now. So what are we gonna do here? Well, right now we are gonna have our animation when our fish gets hooked, and it will be like this. Tweener, not tween, but tweener. Come on, tweener equals to transform dot do move. So do move, not do move y, but do move. We are moving it on the the y, which is like this here. So this is our num2, where it comes in handy from v. To num3, so do move, and value will be v, duration will be num3, so this is our duration, it will be 3. And then snapping, it will be false, like this. Then we'll have set loops. We'll set loops, and int loops will be -1. So as you can see, setting loops has no effect if tween has already started. Number of circles to play -1 for infinitive. So we will want to put this in infinitive loop, and then loop type dot yo-yo, like this, yo-yo. Setting the looping option for the tween has no effect if the tween has already started. Loop type, loop behavior, default loop, restart. So it will just go back and forth. That's what yo-yo is all about. What does it say here? Tweens move forward and backwards at alternative cycles. As I said, it will go just back and forward. Then from there, we're gonna set ease. Then ease will be dot linear. So it will be in one line. It will not go up and down, just one line. Then set delay, and delay will be our delay that we have here calculated. So unity that random range from 0 to 2.num3. And then last but not least will be on set complete. Then we'll have our delegate. Put this up, curly brackets on, then say vector 3 local scale equals to transform dot local scale like this. Local scale dot x equals to minus or negative local scale dot x. Come on, local scale dot x. And then we're saying the transform dot local scale equals to local scale. Simple. And we'll finish this off by adding semicolon. So right here we have to move our fish, and this will be mostly on the x-axis because it will just move left and right. So that's where our loop type yo-yo comes in handy. It will be in linear motion, so going left to right with delay to when to start, and when it's done on setup complete, we are having our no fish because it goes, oh no, my bad. When it finished, we are actually just swapping. So right now, imagine our fish is like this. When it goes to the right side, come on, Unity, and hit the bounce, it has to go back. But imagine like this. Imagine fish is here. It goes here and then comes back like this. It like hits here and then comes back like this. It makes no sense. So when it hits, so on set complete, we will just scale it at -1. So it actually turns the side, you know? So that is all about. When we hit the bounce, which is when we move it on the y, on the v I mean, which is negative position dot x, it will go from left to right. And when it hits the bounce, So if it hit here, if it's here, where is it? It will go to -1. If it goes all the way to the other side and hit the bounce, it will just turn aside and continue doing its thing. So that is what was that all about. And guess what? That is not it. There is just one more function, which is our public void hooked. So this is when our fish gets hooked. And here I said this tweener was for when our fish gets hooked. My bad, it's actually for moving left or right. As for the hook, we're gonna say call legend dot enable equals to false, and we'll have our tweener dot kill equals to false, meaning that our tweener has done. So this is finished. The fish will not move left or right no more. So guys, that will be it for setting up our fish. You could start the game with this, but nothing will happen really, because we did not call out our reset fish. And okay, this is for testing purposes, so I'm just testing if I call reset fish here, or actually in update function maybe, or not here. If I call it, will our fish go left or right? Let's see. Let's check if that is actually going to happen. So as I said, I haven't tried this before, but logically I think it should move left or right. So okay, let me put it just here so we can see it. I wanted to hook it, but we do not have on trigger hook. And as you can see, we have a problem. We have we haven't added this. Maybe if we were to add the floats, we could see our fish moving, but I could do that, but I will leave that up to you. Try that out for yourself, because this video is a bit too long and I do not want to expand it with this information that it's really not needed. So yeah guys, that will be it for this video. You will see the movement for the fish when fish spawner comes in, and that will be it. Goodbye guys, I will see you in the next video.